Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. For those of you who are here for the first time, my name is Catherine and I tell true life stories. My today's story is a bit of controversial or a bit confusing and unbelievable for those of you who believe and those of you who don't believe. But I can only say if you have met it, then you will believe. If you've never met it, of course, it's very hard for you to believe, and I understand you. So, today's story is about spirits in the wrong places. And I'm not talking about vodka spirits or cognac or things like that. I'm talking about ghosts. Ghosts. Now, these are the stories from the people in the Gulf. You know, they say that there are a lot of ghosts in the Gulf. For those of you who don't know ghosts, these are to just to summarize, dead people who left their spirits behind, whose spirits are still hanging around. For some reason, they never accepted that they died, so they're still hanging around. Yeah, well, this mystery surrounding death, you never know. They say some spirit refused to move out of the world, so they just hang around because they thought they're not so ready to go, whatever. But this, most of them are called paranormal. No wonder we're in the Gulf. When they hear there is a horror movie, they really love to attend. The cinema will be full if there's a story on ghosts. I think it's because of the experiences they have seen themselves. So the incidents, I can say in wrong places because this one is like in a spa. If you look at my movies, you'll see a lot of things about spas. Wellness, relaxation areas, massages, hot tubs, steam and saunas. Now you imagine a ghost appearing in such a place. It's easier if a ghost appears in a cemetery or something like that. But this is a relaxation area, daytime. Now there is this guests who are having a relaxing bath, a relaxing couples bath. This bath filled with bubbles, and then they put in some relaxing essential oils like lavender to put you in rolls, just to put you into the relaxing mood. Just relax in the bathtub as your body gains the ingredients of the essential oils. So now this room is in a corner. Okay, this spa is built in a very old-fashioned way to have the impression of, the souks in the Gulf. And of course, they're old souks. Modern souks don't look like that, but these are old souks. And they are relaxing. And suddenly, there is a wall. There is always a wall, not suddenly there's a wall. There's a wall that they can see outside. It's about, let's say, 12 feet high, so that nobody can look into the bathtub because there's a big glass so that it displays the outside as they're having their relaxing bath. As they're relaxing, they see somebody on the wall, hanging on the wall, looking inside the bath. When they look up, the person goes down again. Suddenly again, the person appears. When they look down, the person goes down again. So the lady who had prepared the bath had not left the outside of the room just in case they might need anything urgently. So she was just hanging around when suddenly the door opened and she looked behind. One of the guests was wrapped in a towel and said, "There is somebody peeping at us from the other side. How? Can you please go and check?" The person was like, since this is a staff, she was wondering how can somebody be peeping from such a high wall. So she told them there's a wall there, so nobody can be looking inside. Then she said, yes, it is on top of this wall that this person is coming and checking and going back. When you look up, the person goes back. This person knows very well that this wall is very high. And unless there is a ladder on the other side, which is quite impossible because they said it's a man, and on the other side it's a ladies' area, in the Gulf, how they fix places, seclusion. So there's no way a man will be peeping into the room from the ladies' area because it's very restricted. So she said, okay, I'll go check. She went and checked from the wall that they were describing, they were complaining about. She saw nothing, no ladder, no nothing. So she came back and told them, hey, actually the wall is so high, unless there is a ladder there, nobody could be hanging on it and just looking and going back like that. And there is no ladder there. So the lady told her, I swear we saw somebody with a lot of hair, big hair, I think an afro, kind of like that, Asian though, was looking inside, and when we look up, she goes back. So this lady was, okay, you just stay in, I'll just go and find out if there's anyone roaming around. But she went and looked around. All the locks were in order, as in nobody can just go in that area where you can go over the wall without these doors being opened. And everything was actually closed. So she went back and informed her managers, and they were like, actually everybody is inside, so probably could have been maintenance, but maintenance said they have not done any maintenance on that side. And normally if there's maintenance, they wouldn't be using that room if they know that it will be interfering somebody's privacy. So she goes back only to find the guests running out of the room with all their stuff. They would already worn their clothes. And she was like, what happened? They said, no, we cannot stay here. Well, they had already paid their money. They did not even ask for it. They just left the spa without any word, very fast. So the lady went in and looked, checked what could have happened. They had not even stayed in their relaxing bath, supposed to be half an hour, but they had only stayed there for like 10 minutes, and they left very fast. She looked around to see what was the problem. She didn't see anything. Well, she just left. In the same spa, the maintenance people used to work at night when there are no guests. If whatever project they're doing will make a lot of noise, so they will work at night. It was such a big spa, actually, 23 rooms, very huge. So if there is a project they have to do that will make a lot of noise, they'll have to do it at night when there is no guest. So during one of these night routines, they had these fire phones hung. You know, when there is an emergency, these phones are hung, and then there's an alarm. So they were in the treatment rooms fixing something, and then in the underground, the phone hung. Normally there's nobody around during that time, only the maintenance. Nobody else, everybody has gone home. Then the phone hung, so they ran down to check what is happening. Why did the phone hang? There was an alarm. When they went into the room that the phone had hung, there was nothing. Yes, the phone had hung, but there was nothing. Nothing, apart from a few broken glasses. So they were like, could somebody be playing a prank on them or what? But they knew that they're the only ones in that spa at that moment. So what do you think that was? What do you think that was? And it is said that these people, if they come in touch with these ghosts, they can move with them to another place also. Like they get attached to someone and then they move with them to wherever they're going. And maybe that is the reason why, in the accommodation of the staff of the spa, weird things were also happening at night. In one of the manager's house, he was staying with his family, and he will always complain of noises on the above floor. The above floor has some staff also staying there, and he kept on complaining they keep on moving, tables here and there, always past midnight. Why? And the people who used to say, no, we don't move anything. Nobody moves anything at night. At night we are sleeping. Guys, we have a very early shift. Why on earth would we be moving things at night? And mark you, one time, they moved out of the building and moved to another floor. But the moving of the tables was still happening, and there was nobody in that building. Then, in the same manager's house, the kids kept complaining that there is a man who visits them at night and just stands and watches them at the bed. Then, one morning, he wakes up and finds his lobby rearranged. He asked his wife, are you the one who rearranged this, and what time did you do it? The wife was like, I thought you're the one who did it, not me. That was very interesting. Their tables had also been moved, and none of them had moved them. The small kids, of course, were too small to move the things. So the guys decided to put the Quran, which is their Bible, in the lobby and in the kids' room. Then the kids no longer complained of seeing the man visiting them at night, and there was no movement in the house. Another incident in the same apartment were portraits falling. One lady will have an early shift, so she'll go home alone in the apartment, and every time, as I was saying, every time this lady will come in the afternoon, there will be a portrait that will fall from the wall in her room. Boom! She used to sit in the lobby, and then she will hear, boom! She goes and checks her portrait that she used to hang on the wall. A portrait of giraffes and elephants used to fall. So she was wondering, why on earth does this portrait always wait for me so that it falls? I mean, I'm here the whole morning it's on the wall, and then when I come back in the afternoon is when it falls. This is, so scary. So one time she was lying on her bed browsing, and then she used to hang a cape on the hook on one of the cupboards. Suddenly the cape falls off. It's not the hook that is falling off with the cape, it is the cape that is falling off the hook. And it was well placed. So she looked at it, and she had some cold chill, but she just ignored it. As if that is not enough, she thought she saw the drawer move a bit. The drawer opened itself, slid itself open, and that's when she just decided to take her stuff nicely, with the shaking legs, and went to her neighbor's house and just told them what she is seeing. And they were laughing at her like, you have so many imaginations. Yes, they said you have so many imaginations, but until one day in the same villa, in the same in their apartment, the one that she had gone to stay for a while, one lady was lying on the couch, and she said she saw somebody looking at her, just standing above her. She screamed because this person looked scary. She screamed. She really saw somebody. When she woke up, there was no one. And so they were saying it was a dream. But why did it happen after this lady moved there to complain about what she had just seen in her room? So that's why they say these things sometimes attach themselves on somebody and move with the person to the next apartment. But then there was a guy who will see them. Like he'll say, you're sitting with those things over there. You're sitting with them. It was a bit kind of scary, you know. Spirits in wrong places. Now, this one is a bit scary. This one is a student, still not in the Gulf, but in some part in the western part of Kenya. Western part of Kenya is a bit kind of weird also with their stuff and scary things. So this one is a student. She did a mathematics test. She was very poor in mathematics. They had issues of in-laws and stepmothers and step sisters issues in their family because their families were polygamous. So the families used to like throw some witchcraft on each other. So this girl was quite daft. But she did a mathematics test and guess what she got? 100 pass. 100% in mathematics that she used to score 0. Every step was correct. The teachers called her and asked her where she got the marking scheme. And she was like, no, honestly, I had no marking scheme. She did not even expect to. You know, when she was doing the exam, she thought she's getting a 0 anyway. To her surprise, she got everything. When they look at the marking scheme in her paper, it looks the same. And the teachers were quite sure they went with the marking scheme to their homes. So how did she come across the marking scheme? She was in trouble. The teachers were not staying on the same compound with the students. I mean, their houses were very far. But then they came to a conclusion that she must have sneaked into the mathematics teacher house, who works with the key, and taken the marking scheme. So this lady was suspended, but she said, you know what? I have something to tell you. One time I was sleeping, and then when I looked around, I saw a man up to here wearing a long cloak, black one, and the nails were so long, like the longest acrylics. And when I looked up, I began to scream. And you know what he did? He slapped me. He slapped me with his clothes. And I woke up. I thought at first that I was dreaming, but I had marks all over my face, bleeding marks, like the clothes overcut. And so she was like, she thinks this was a plot by her stepsisters and stepmothers to get rid of her because she was the only one who was being educated. She was the only lady in the family who was being educated while the other ladies had been married off. And so they were jealous and they were sending her this, they call them genies, just to mess her up. And they had managed. From that time, she became very prayerful. And up to now, we don't know whether she stopped experiencing these things or they still go on or not. So these are just some of the stories of this so-called the other world spirits. Genies, they call them in the Gulf, genies. In other countries, they say paranormals or whatever, but I call them ghosts. So if you like my contents, like, share, and subscribe. For those of you who believe, good. For those of you who don't believe, yeah, it's understood. Sometimes I also doubt until maybe when I meet them. Ciao!